So thank you for that warm welcome. So once again, good morning and assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. So it is my pleasure to be your first speaker for today's seminar. As you can see, the title of our program today is the Community and Public Health and Racial or Ethnic Populations, or the Community Infant Mortality Program. So for me to start with my discussion today, let me present to you my prepared presentation for this seminar. The term diversity has different meanings to different people. Diversity refers to differences in gender, age groups, social orientation, socioeconomic status, language preference, religion, political views, and special needs, as well as the race and ethnicity. To truly appreciate diversity will take a lifetime, as it not only multifaceted but also dynamic. For many, diversity is synonymous with race and ethnicity, and while the focus of this seminar, of this program, it is to focus on the major racial and ethnic groups in the Philippines. It is important to remember that diversity is much more than extensive than what we have able to present here. To further understand the word diversity, let me give an example in race and ethnicity population in the Philippines. So with that, there are two majority groups and the minority groups population in the Philippines. The word majority, those with characteristics that are found in more than 50% of the population, and the word minority group, which is the subgroup of the population that consists of fewer than 50% of the population. At dahil pinag-uusapan natin ang race and ethnicity of the Philippines, so let me present to you the Philippine population, or the demographic status of the Philippines, na mayroon ng major ethnic and minor ethnic. So sa major ethnic, mayroon ng Pilipinas ng Visayan at Tagalog. So Visayan ay nahati sa Cebuano, Waray, Hiligaynon or Ilonggo, Karaya, Aklanon, Masbatanyo, Romblonanon na mayroong 31.6%. At sa Tagalog naman is mayroon siyang 28.1%, that is according to 2000 census. Ang minor ethnic group naman ng Pilipinas, mayroon ng Ilocano ng 9%, Bicol na mayroon 6%, Kapampangan na mayroon 3%, Pangasinan na mayroong 2%, Zamboangueño na mayroong 1.5%, and others, which is 23.3%. And that is according to 2000 census. So kung i-add natin siya, is hindi siya umabot ng 50% of the population. The majority of the people in the Philippines are related to Malay people, or more broadly the Austronesian peoples. The largest of these groups are the Visayan, Tagalogs, Ilocanos, Bicolanos, Moros, Kapampangans, Pangasinenses, and the Zamboangueños. The indigenous people of the Philippines form a minority of the population. Indigenous of the other large ethnic groups include the Filipinos of Japanese, Indian, Chinese, Spanish, and American descent. And also there are more than 175 ethno-linguistic groups in the Philippines. Its own culture, identity, literature, tradition, music, dances, foods, beliefs, and history, which are all part of the Filipino culture. The latest censuses did not take account of ethnicity, and the only census that included questions on ethnicity is the 2000 census. Nevertheless, a 2019 anthropology study by Mateo Go, published in Journal of Human Biology using physical anthropology, estimated that 72.7% of Filipinos are Asian, while 12.7% of Filipinos can be classified as Hispanic or the Latin American, Mestizos or Malay-Spanish Mestizos, 7.3% as Indigenous American, African at 4.5%, and European at 2.7%. That is according to the website below. Majority of Filipinos are lowland Austronesians, while the Atas, the Negritos, as well as the other highland groups form a minority. The indigenous population is related to the indigenous population of the Malay archipelago. Some ethnic groups that have been in the Philippines for centuries before Spanish and American colonial rule have assimilated or intermixed. 600,000 people from the United States live in the Philippines. They represent 0.56% of the total population. The ethnic groups include the Arabs, the Japanese, Han Chinese, and Indians, which form parts of the population. So, the most commonly spoken indigenous language are the Tagalog and Cebuano, with 23.8 million or the 45 million speakers as Filipino and 16 million speakers respectively. Another 11 indigenous language have at least 1 million native speakers. The Ilocano, Hiligaynon, Waray, and the various Bicol languages, Kapampangan, Pangasinan, Maranao, Maguindanao, Kinaray-a, Zamboangueño, and Tausug. One or more of these are spoken as well as the mother tongue by more than 93% of the population. Filipino and English are the official language, but there are between 120 and 170 distinct indigenous Philippine languages, or depending on expert classification. It is standard practice for medical practitioners and public health professionals to describe participants and populations in terms of race or ethnicity. Unfortunately, these terms are often used interchangeably when in fact they are not. So the term race refers to the categorization of parts of the population based on physical appearance due to particular historical, social, and political forces. Despite this widely used classification, it should be noted that these are no scientifically established genotypes to delineate race, which leads to the subjective categorization into racial categories. While the word ethnicity refers to the subcultural groups within a multicultural society, membership in an ethnic group is usually based on a common national of tribal heritage. Hutchinson and Smith have proposed that the definition of the ethnic group include 6 main features, including the number 1 is that a common proper name to identify and express the essence of the community. Number 2, a myth of a common ancestry that includes the idea of common origin in time and place, and that gives an ethnic a sense of fictive kinship. Number 3, shared historical memories, or better, shared memories of a common past or past, including the heroes, events, and their commemoration. Number 4, one or more elements of common culture, which need not to be specified but normally include religion, costumes, and languages. And number 5, a link with the homeland, not necessarily its physical occupation by the ethnic, only its symbolic attachment to the ancestral languages. And number 6, a sense of solidarity on the part of the least some section of the ethnic population. And these are the definitions for racial and ethnic populations in the Philippines. So there are race in the Philippines. First, the Ilocano, the Cebuano, Bicolano, Yakan, the Igorot people, the Batak, the Maranao, and also the Waray, the Ita, Ati, Samabadjao, Hiligaynon, or the Bagubo, and the Filipino. Ilocano people. So Ilocano people who make up about 9% of the total populations, and Ilocanos are mostly found in the northern part of the Philippines. Number 2 is the Cebuano people. The Cebuano are the Austronesian speaking peoples that settled in the Filipino province of Cebu between the 10th and 16th centuries. Number 3 is the Bicolano people, are those who are living in the Bicol region. This Filipino ethnicity groups is known for being religious and calm. While the Yakan people are among the major indigenous Filipino ethno-linguistic groups in the Sulu archipelago. The Igorot are found in the Calderella Administrative Region or the CAR region. This ethnic group in Calderella made some of the Philippine destinations popular, such as the Banawi Rice Terraces, which is one of the UNESCO World Heritage Sites. The Yatak people. So, what it means, the Batak people are the group of indigenous Filipino people that residents in the northern portion of the Palawan. So, the Batak people is found in the northern portion of the Palawan. Next is the Maranao people. So Maranao people, they speak the Maranao and live in the provinces of Lanao del Norte and Lanao del Sur. Next one is the Waray people. The Waray are also a subdivision of the Visayans that migrated to the Philippines during the Iron Age. They mostly inhabit the islands of Leyte and Samar. Next one is the Eta people. So the Eta Filipino ethnicity is known to be one of the oldest ethnic in the Philippines. Etas lives in the mountainous province of Zambales. And next is the Ati people. So traditionally subcategorized geographically as the Ati people of Visayas and Mindanao. And next one is the Sama Badjao, and this Badjao tribe in the Philippines can be found in Zamboanga and Sulu, where they live above water. That is why they are called sea nomads or sea gypsies. And next one is the Hiligaynon people. So Hiligaynon, these are Austronesian language speakers who are subdivision of the Visaya ethnic group, and they are mainly found in the western Visaya region of the Philippines. The Bagubo, Tagabawa, also known as Tagabawa or the Bagubo Tagabawa, are an indigenous tribe in Mindanao. They speak the Tagabawa language, which is a Manubo language, and live in the Cotabato, Davao del Sur, Davao del Norte. At kung mayroon tayong races, mayroon naman tayong ethnic sa Pilipinas. So, nangunguna dito ay ang mga indigenous people in the Philippines, which is indigenous peoples are distinct social and cultural groups that share collective ancestral ties to the lands and natural resources where they live, occupy, or from which they have been displaced. So, number 2 is the Filipino people. The Philippines collectively are called Filipinos. The ancestors of the vast majority of the population were of Malay descent and came from the southern Asian mainland as well as from what is now Indonesia. Next one is the Eta people. The Etas belong to the Philippines Aboriginal population, collectively known as the Negritos. They differ from the Filipino indigenous groups. They are characterized with their curly, they have dark complexion, and small stature. Next one is the Igorot people. The Igorot people are Austronesians. They were known as in earlier days for their wars and practice of hand hunting. The Spaniards firstly partially subdue them during the colonial occupation of the Philippines, that process being completed during the period of the USA hegemony. And last one is the Moro people. So the Moro people or the Bangsamoro people refers to the 13 Muslim majority ethno-linguistic Austronesian groups of Mindanao, Sulu and Palawan, native to the region known as the Bangsamoro. So Moro people were found in Mindanao, Sulu and Palawan, native or the region known as the Bangsamoro in the Mindanao. And that is according to the from source across the web. Kung ang USA ay meron silang EFA kung saan ito ay Affordable Act, ang Pilipinas naman ay mayroong UHC kung saan ito ay Universal Healthcare. Duterte has just signed a Universal Healthcare or the UHC bill into law, Republic Act number 11223, that automatically enrolls that all Filipino citizens in the National Health Insurance Program and prescribes complementary reforms in the health system. This gives citizens access to the full continuum of health services they need, while protecting them from enduring financial hardship as a result. Health data sources and limitation. Universal Healthcare, the UHC, also refers to as the kalusugang pangkalahatan or the KIPI, as the provision to every Filipino of the highest possible quality of healthcare that is accessible, efficient, equitably distributed, adequately funded, fairly financed, and appropriately used by an informed and empowered public. The Aquino administration puts it as the availability and accessibility of health services and necessities for all Filipinos. It is a government mandate aiming to ensure that every Filipino shall receive affordable and quality health benefits. This involves the providing adequate resources, health human resources, health facilities, and health financing.
And that will be all for my part for this program. Once again, good day everyone, and Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.